Hello everybody, this is DeanoGTO, and today we're going to be looking at the Ikv 90B, the Tier 7 Swedish TD. So, this tank, it's kind of like most Tier 7 TDs, it's kind of mediocre, kind of like, sometimes you can say it's good, sometimes you can say it's kind of eh, but one of the trademarks of this vehicle is that it has virtually no armor whatsoever to speak of. I think it's like 13mm or something like that there, so it's really, really bad. Pretty much everything can overmatch it, so extremely weak armors, bit of a trademark of the Swedish TDs up until Tier 9. Tier 9 is where the armor starts to actually work. I believe Tier 8 still has like 20mm armor, so I don't really count that one. So, I'm going to take advantage of a wee position that I used to take advantage of all the time, but I stopped using because people just kept blind firing it. So, I'm testing this out in a lower tier battle, because in a lower tier battle I feel like it's more like it. And yeah, this is what I mean, like, this tank's kind of mediocre because the accuracy on the gun just a lot of the time just goes nope. And I think that went between his turret and the spaced armor thing on the side of the Panzer IV's turret. So that was a little annoying, not gonna lie. And then there's a VK3002M, and it just puts the shot straight in the ground. So you need to have the gun on this thing fully aimed if you want to hit your target. It's kind of annoying to use a lot of the time, and this VK for some reason just decides to sit here and let us shoot the crap out of him pretty much. I think I tried one more blind shot in that location just because, or no I don't, I changed my mind I think. I tried blind shot off screen, but then I'm pre-aiming over towards where the OI is. OI is a, god damn it, this gun can be frustrating. Sometimes it'll just put shots in the ground, and this is not like I have like a 90% crew or something, this is a 100% crew with brothers in arms and all, so like there's no real excuse for the gun to be behaving this poorly. So yeah, it must just be the accuracy of the vehicle. I do have pretty much 100% camo skill, and I think the camo skill is pretty much mainly useful in the Swedish TDs these days. I don't even think light tanks are really, it's even really worth taking camo on light tanks these days, because it just doesn't seem to work. But yeah, and this is the power of a 90mm gun at Tier 7. Versus Tier 5s, it wrecks them, and that was actually extremely lucky that didn't do more damage. If that had pierced straight through my armor, that would have taken off half my health in one hit, more than likely. And the Skoda T40 hit after that there, that was a low roll, so I still have half my health remaining. I'm just trying to back off as fast as I can now. With the higher tier Swedish TDs, I could do like 50 in reverse, or 40, or minimum 40 as far as I'm aware, in reverse. But in this one here I can't because it's a lower tier vehicle, and it doesn't have that that trait yet. Tier 8 is where you get that trait for the first time, and the gun actually worked from there, and I was able to nail the Skoda T40. And here I'm going to notice the map pretty soon, at least I think. Yep, there it is. And that there's a couple of people that made a push through the middle of the map. I'm going to try and respond to that. But then I noticed that the E25 has pretty much got it under control when you start just obliterating this T25/2. I mean, the E25 has like a 2.5 second reload or something, like whenever you've kitted it out correctly. And yeah, he's got that. He had no problems. So it's still a relatively close game. We have killed 7 of them. They've killed 4 of us. It could still go either way depending on like how our team plays out. And there is, as you can see, an STRV M42 over there with pretty much no health remaining. So we still have to play relatively cautiously on this in this scenario, because well, we don't want to die and throw the game at the very end, because that would suck. And I'm kind of thinking like what I want to do, because nobody seems to be over there. Oh, and then the T1 Heavy for some reason just appears out of nowhere. No idea where he came from or why he was there, but he for some reason decides to back up and doesn't even point his gun towards me. I don't know what he's doing, and the gun just keeps failing me. Like, I think this game could have been, like, if all the shots I had taken, well, other than the ones that were just poorly aimed, had hit the target, I honestly think I probably could have gotten like maybe 3,500 damage, nearly 4,000 damage. But because the gun just kept missing, I just, like, it massively limited the amount of damage I was actually able to do. And that's honestly part of the reason why it's taken me so long to get through this thing, and why I'm excited to get to Tier 8. Because the Tier 8 is where you get your first laser pointer gun on the Swedish TDs, like where you get the 105mm gun with like 0.3 accuracy or some shit whenever you're in siege mode. But yeah, it's going to be a really solid, really powerful gun, so I'm really looking forward to getting that there eventually. So yeah. VK3002M kills that guy off. Not too many tanks remain on the enemy team. There's a 3002M from earlier. It looks like I did hit him with the last blind shot I fired potentially, but unfortunately he has, unfortunately he survived. Well, potentially at least. I'm not 100% sure, can't be 100% sure. But the Stug 4 is actually pointing my way. I actually didn't realize initially it was pointing my direction because the Stug 4, um, honestly, like, you don't see those too often, so it's honestly easy to forget like what they actually look like. Might sound ridiculous, but I don't really play this kind of tier very often because of the shit like the new hero premiums they released not too long ago, like the Defender and all the other ones are just bullshit. But yeah, like playing tier 7 is not something I do particularly often, but I'm able to get the final kill of the game with 5 kills total, 63 damage that we saw. I did fire a couple blind shots in that game, so we'll figure out whether or not any of them hit by looking at the post-battle result screens. Okay, so that may have sounded a little bit weird the way I ended off there, but that's because I went on for like another 4 or 5 minutes rambling, and I figured I would just cut that short because it was just kind of pointless, just talking on my ass pretty much. So this match was worth an ace tanker, 3,474 XP, patrol duty with a high caliber, which is kind of bizarre. I got patrol duty in a Swedish TD. What the hell's happening? The reason the XP score is so high is because partially because of premium account and partially because of I had a personal reserve active. If you look in the top left of the corner, or top left corner, you can see 0.2 minutes remaining. So I actually jumped into another game immediately after this here to make sure I made the most of it. So it was 2,300 XP if I didn't have premium account, but that still takes into account the personal reserves with 31,000 credits. But that just takes into account the premium account. So I didn't hit any blind shots in that game, so it was still 2,663 base XP. Or no, 2,663 damage. If it was base XP, that'd be incredible. 1,158 base XP. First on team in terms of damage and XP. Beat the next person in the game by about 1,000 damage and was about 450 XP higher than the next person on the team, so that was a pretty sweet game. 20 shots fired, 14 hits, but every shot that hit actually penetrated, so that's a pretty nice ratio. And 2,000 damage done from more than 300 meters range. Received 3 hits, and all 3 of them penetrated and did some sort of damage. Although I would say the Panzer IV hit shot, I think that was, if that was the 105mm, that was a splash hit, not an actual penetration. But because it wasn't an artillery, that technically counts as a penetration. So it's a wee bit weird how that works. I spotted 7 vehicles total, damaged 8 vehicles and killed 5. 958 spotting damage. So yeah, that was overall pretty solid game in the Tier 7, our Swedish Tier 7 TD. But the tank itself does have some issues, as I've already pointed out. The inconsistent gun, the tank itself is kind of block-like. I mean, look at the casement on the back of the tank. It's kind of, it's completely flat, and it's got like 18mm of armor, and the actual upper front plate, I was actually right. I think it's like 12 or 13 or something got there armor, and that's like that's non-existent armor. And I think the idea of this thing originally was like they were going to bring this thing in with the new overmatch mechanics, and they balance it so that it would have some sort of armor that would work. And the casement placement of the gun, the idea of that there was that it would allow it to bounce shots off the upper glacis, but as soon as it hit the casement, it would pen. Like shots would pen easily. I think that was the original idea. But because they reversed the overmatching changes, because they realized, oh no, this would break the game, literally. Like, I mean, things like Borsigs will start bouncing shots consistently, purely because they have like a well sloped, like if you look at the back of the Borsig, the back of the Borsig is actually surprisingly well sloped. That's only 8mm of armor or something, and that would start bouncing shots and consistently. So they realized, oh no, this would literally break the game. Why would we ever introduce this? And then they stopped it. But they didn't really rebalance their vehicles very much, at least below tier 8, to really compensate for that there. They did make the tanks at tier 8, 9 and 10 go in and come out of siege mode faster, but the lower tiered vehicles didn't really get much to compensate for that, and this thing kind of relied on the overmatching changes, but the overmatching changes didn't come, so this tank kind of got a bit screwed in terms of the gun handling and all, because I think the gun handling intentions was that this thing was like so that this thing would have some sort of tanking capability, but that didn't come true. So yeah, it kind of suffers a bit in terms of the actual overall stats of the vehicle. I do wish it kind of had the reverse speed or something of the tier 8, 9 and 10. like just to make it so that it somewhat prepares you, like some of the characteristics of the higher tiered vehicles, because like this thing is not representative of what the tier 8, 9, and 10 are going to be like at all, because the tier 8, 9, and 10, or well, tier 9 and 10 in particular, have some armor to work with. This thing has no armor to work with, so it can't prepare you for the tier 8, but the tier 8, it has the siege mode, so it's a completely different vehicle. Like I wish it just had the reverse speed or something just to make it um a bit more fitting for the tech tree, if that makes sense. So I feel like this thing is probably actually one of the best tier 7 TDs, even though its gun handling it's kind of shit, because well tier 7 TDs in general just kind of suck, and like honestly tier 7 is like the tier that really stops people from going to tier 8, like or like that stops people from going to the higher tiered stuff. I mean, like there are a lot of really bad tier 7 tank destroyers, and tier 7 tank destroyers in comparison to a lot of other classes seem to be some of the worst in the game. I mean, you have shit like the Challenger. I mean, enough said purely with that, because the Challenger is just a gigantic piece of shit. Like no one wants to play that. The only reason people play that is to get to the higher tiered stuff. And even in that line, the only thing people want is the Charioteer. Everything else can go fuck itself, because like the FE 4005 is a giant piece of shit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the tier 8. This thing here, not really exciting to play, and not really much fun to play either. Um, I wouldn't recommend free XP. I would not recommend free XP through it. Maybe free XP a couple modules to make it a bit easier to play. But free XP the entire way through it, it's not the worst thing ever. It's definitely not the worst tier 7 TD in the game. But it's just not exactly fun to play. It's not exactly entertaining to watch people play either. So yeah. So let me know your opinions on the actual tier on the TDs in the Swedish line. Do you like them? Have you played them? What tier are you at in them? Just out of curiosity. Because I know I was talking to a guy in the comment section. He said he was at tier 5 and he was really liking tier 5. And honestly, I love the tier 5. The tier 5 was so much fun to play with that 105mm heat cannon that gets that fires like 120mm pen heat rounds from standard. That's it's a really good tank. I really like that tank. Tier 6 I didn't like as much because I felt like it was kind of awkward. And this thing here I don't like too much either, but I'm really looking forward to the tier 8 after playing the tier 10 on the test server. So yeah, as I said, let me know in the comment section below what you think of these vehicles, and thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.